Hi, everyone. Marisa B here from Radiant Living. If you like what we're doing and want to keep the conversations going, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know every time we upload a video. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Radiant Living, Inspiring Humanity to Thrive. I'm your host, Marisa B, and today I have with me, and it's my privilege to have an individual who has over 30 years experience, over 15 in the spiritual realm, transformational experience, draws his expertise from the Vedic wisdom, Kabbalistic teachings, Western alchemy, shamanism, the esoteric mysteries of both Eastern and Western traditions. He holds a degree in psychology, a master's certificate in counseling. I would like to welcome today Surya Krishna. Thank you for coming today, Surya.
Thank you for having me, Marisa. And I want to thank your audience for listening as well.
Thank you. It's our privilege. My gosh, we have so much to talk about. The first thing I want to ask is, because I know you come from the counseling and the therapy vein, and you've had clients for many years. How did you come to this healing arts path?
Well, like you said, I have a science background. And so I used to be quite skeptical about energy worker and healers, even yoga and meditation. I was a bit hesitant about. I thought it was woo and weird. So I focused on using the talking therapies to help people create change in their lives. And what happened was my life spun out of control. So despite my training in psychology and counseling and helping people create change in their lives, I was quite codependent in my relationships. I had a very addictive personality, and I actually got myself addicted to gambling while I was living in Australia.
Oh, wow.
My finances were a real mess. And it was kind of like, in life in general, I was walking down a dark hallway, but instead of using my hands to feel my way, I was banging my head against the wall, trying to find a doorway. And I eventually banged into a door that led me onto the spiritual path. And it's like when that door opened, there was light. There was tools, there was teachings, and my life began to miraculously change. So the moment I stepped into my now spiritual teacher's classroom, I stopped gambling. That was July 12th, 2008, and I haven't gambled since.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. It was quite the journey. And other miracles of healing have occurred. Mm-hmm. And like I said before that, I was a skeptic. And now the stuff that I utilize to help people change their lives is stuff that I've used in my own life. And that's what's kept me on this spiritual path. That's what's kept me using these tools, is that transformation and change.
Well, I know that I know you have a YouTube channel, and I listen to it. I fervently listen to it because I love everything that you say. That's why I said before we came on online that there's so much to talk about, because you, first of all, help individuals find self-love, which I find so important. And self-love, not self-love as in the physical, because we do need that. We need the catering to ourselves, taking a beautiful bubble bath or a day off, relaxing, meditating. But you really address self-love, internal self-love, which is very difficult. And you also, right, and you also convey not only self-love, but then transposing that love to others, because once you can love yourself, you can love others. So can you explain a little bit about how you help people now, because you do come from the traditional therapy background?
Yes. So in many schools of thought, our programming from which we live our lives many people believe that it occurs within the first 7 years of our lives. So we tend to operate from that unless we change, unless we begin to explore and educate ourselves and heal some of the traumas that we experienced early on. Now, trauma can have a capital T or a small t. And what I find with the people that I work with is that there's this tendency to operate from our traumas and our past programming. I believe our parents did their best, but they were human. And so they were carrying their own traumas and were operating from that. So we've learned from trauma. And so to help people undo the conscious, unconscious, and subconscious blocks to loving themselves. And that's where working with another person can come in real handy, because they can see things that you can't necessarily. And then working with somebody who can peer into the unconscious and the subconscious. So reading your chakras and your aura and the energy that's being held in those. And the way that I work is with a modality called Ignite Your Spirit Therapy. It uses soul energy as well as affirmations and release commands, so the spoken word. And I also use my hands to sweep the negative energy out. Mm-hmm. And so it's like cleaning out a cup and then filling it back up with the affirmations and the energy, that which we want to have in our lives. So specifically with self-love, I often get people that release, just say, I now release the negative programming that blocks self-love, and then take it out. So in one way, it is a very simple process, and in another way, it's very deep and transformative.
Yes. Well, anytime you're working with cleansing trauma, right? Whether it's a capital T or a lowercase t, it is deep. Like you said, simple technique, yeah, very deep. Now, I'd like to ask you, do you work with individuals? Do you work with groups? I know I'm very jealous. You're in a beautiful area where you live in Mexico. It's what, Playa del Sol?
Playa del Carmen.
Playa del Carmen. And that, of course, beautiful area, lovely weather. Do you work, because, we know that the pandemic changed a lot of people's formats for working with clients. How do you do it now? Do you have groups in person, online, one-on-one, the same way? How are you working with clients now?
Primarily one-on-one. So I have a 3-month transformational program where people will see me once a week for the first 3 weeks of every month. I've just found that intensity is very transformative and very helpful. And then at the end of that 3 months, we then discuss what working together looks like after that. I also facilitate a meditation on Sunday mornings for people that I've been working with for a while. It's a very advanced meditation. Mm-hmm. I run also meditations for other people as well, both in person and online. So if you're coming to Playa del Carmen, look me up.
Would that would be the case. Oh, I would love it. Now tell me, you have a meditation Sunday morning, but you also have a YouTube channel. Can you give us the name of the YouTube channel and when exactly is it on?
So the name of my channel is Blaze. Now, the intention is that we blaze the love, blaze the joy, that we become like the sun. And, ideally, it's that love and joy that we're blazing. And so when the crap hits the fan in our lives, we be like the sun and just burn it up. It's just more fuel to help us to burn brighter.
Yes.
And so that's the meaning behind the blaze. I do shows on Monday evenings, Tuesday mornings, and it's about helping you to embody your woo and blaze it into the world. Share it with others in the ways that is perfect for you. Because not everybody is meant to be a teacher and healer. You know, we just embody our truth, being our divinely authentic selves, being that love, being that joy in every moment of every day.
Right.
No matter whether we're doing the dishes at work or sitting alone being with our pets.
Right. Well, that's the whole purpose behind it, right? Because you don't have to be a teacher, a spiritual teacher, but you certainly want to live your best life in whatever you're doing and with whomever you're with.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And again, like you said, that when we love ourselves, what happens is then it begins to be reflected around us. Everyone and everything, I believe that everyone and everything around us is a mirror. And so, in that way, if there's something going on in our lives that is not ideal, that we would like to be different, that we're not comfortable with, that's an opportunity for our own individual healing. And when the good stuff is happening, I call that the golden shadow, because that's a reflection of the work that we've done. That's a reflection of the goodness within ourselves as well. So to embrace that as much as we embrace our shadow.
And well, I mean, my opinion is that everybody's worthy and everybody has a right to love themselves and live their best life. But many people don't feel that they deserve that. So that's a big mission out there for somebody like you, right? Because you're, I mean, we're doing it through therapy, but we're doing it through alternative modalities as well. But of course, we want everybody to shine.
Yes, 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 yes. And have you heard the... Oh,
That's okay. Don't worry. That's life. It goes. It's good. We're back.
I'm
It happens.
sorry, I got a phone call.
No, that's okay.
Yes. So, have you heard the term golden age before?
Yes.
Right. So what a golden age is when most people are at a level of self-love and acceptance and have actually embodied a goldenness, are golden-hearted. And right now, we're in what's called a Kali Yuga in the East, or a dark age. And in a dark age, the average resting vibration of most of humanity is low. And so there's this thing called astral gravity. So with gravity, there's a pull to that which has the greatest mass. So because so many people are in shame, blame, guilt, don't feel great about themselves, when we're not working on it, we have a tendency to slip into that astral gravity. And so it actually does take work at this point to pull ourselves out of that. And that's where working with people like us.
Yes. I mean, it is work. It is work. It can be done. And I've had clients that have told me it takes them sometimes many years, but it can be done because you are worthy. You're worth it. You know, if you don't see that, must be it's your clients calling.
Yes.
So it is true that it does take work, but the sadness is that there's still so much dark age out there that we're dealing with now.
Yes. And I agree. And many people are beginning to engage in this type of work. And the more of us that do it, soon there will be a flip from most people thinking shame, blame, guilt into the more self-love and self-acceptance. I completely agree. We are all worthy and deserving of that love, no matter what we think, say, or do.
Right.
And so letting go of the programming that's holding us in those old patterns is an important part of the work.
Yes. I mean, I read something, and it was within the last year that they were saying that we have over 6,000 thoughts in our head throughout the day, maybe even 16,000, I should say, thoughts throughout the day. And 90% of those are negative. That's sad. That's so sad. I mean, look at how much work has to be done out there. And sometimes, even as a person who I'm working in the healing arts, but I'm around a lot of people that are in the healing arts. And I too often forget that there are that many more out there that still need a lot of help. You know, because when you surround yourself with people that are on the same frequency or of all of a like mind, sometimes we forget just how much work still needs to be done out there.
Yes, 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 yes. And there's such a thing as, you know, being aware of our own energy as healers and as teachers. And so I teach a simple technique to really let go of other people's energy so that we are sitting in our truth. Can I share that with you now?
Yes, please do. Because it's interesting to see, because there are many, many people who are affected by others' energy and really don't know what to do and don't know how to get away from that. So yes, please do.
So this technique is called the isolate and release technique. And it can be done anywhere at any time. So if you're in a mall, a crowded place, and you're feeling that overwhelm or the tiredness, if you've been hanging out with people who've had a lot of negative thoughts and have been using a lot of negative language, we can use this technique to let go of that, to come back into a higher vibration, a different way of thinking and feeling. So, love it. So, if you're comfortable and you want to, just close your eyes and then take a deep breath in and say, I now isolate
Wait.
And release all energy that's not mine and not for my highest good. In full faith, so be it. Take a deep breath in and releasing.
That's actually wonderful. I'm gonna have to practice that more often, because I personally learned from this wonderful woman many, many years ago how to cover yourself with these shields of others' energy. However, there's so much different energy, electricity, the internet, all of these things that they do frazzle us just as much, if not more, because though we're speaking, though we now, especially us, we in the healing arts, we speak about others' energies, how to protect yourself, how to not take it on, how to cover yourself. But all of the other external energies, that's a little more difficult, because it's being especially if you're living, I'm in New York, I'm not in New York City, but close enough. You're being bombarded with many, many fields of energy coming, right? So this is a wonderful technique for even for myself to use on a daily basis to come back to my own.
Yes. And, you know, we're not always prepared. We will be walking down the street and something will happen. We'll bump into somebody, or we could have a negative interaction at the grocery store, right? All of that impacts us. And so this technique can be used anytime, anywhere. You can even just think it in your head and let it go. So
right, exactly.
I'm
vocalizing it. I'm vocalizing it today because we're speaking with an audience. We're having them hear that, but that is something that, yes, you can internalize it, repeat it to yourself. It's fabulous to do that. Like I said, because there are external energies that come from other places besides human beings.
Exactly. And so it's a useful technique to use, like when you have a shower at nighttime. Do it in the shower before you go to bed, so that you're letting go of all that energy before you go to sleep. And it'll likely help you to sleep as well, because you're not hanging on to that other people's energy, other staticky energy.
Yes. I mean, I personally have tried to close all the computers, the laptops, the whatever, because I noticed that when you don't do that, there was more things bouncing around, more energy, maybe more wavelengths bouncing around. So I try to turn them all off now myself to have a more restful night's sleep. But you know, sometimes you can't control, as you said, an environment that you're walking into, even a supermarket, even a shop. You don't know what you're going to encounter. And sadly, there are many, many wounded individuals out there. And so you can have an encounter with that. And that this is really just a simple technique, but I actually would love to put it into the description for people. Because of course I want to put all your information. I'd like to find out things like you have a website and how people can contact you. You know, and how do you do anything in like are you running events actually in Mexico that people can find out about as well? I'd love to put all that information out there for the public to find out.
Yes. We're in the building process in terms of having workshops. I'm in negotiations with a space at the moment, and so stuff is coming. I love the online stuff. I think it's amazing. And you mentioned how the pandemic changed us and how we share what we have, and the reach is great. The opportunity is wonderful, and in-person events are amazing as well. So I'm in talks for classes, in-person classes, and I do online classes as well.
And what's your website? What's your website? Can people go to website?
I don't have a website yet. I'm in the process of building it.
But you have social media. But you have social media platforms that you're on.
I have social media. So I've got Facebook and the YouTube channel. And I have a podcast on Spotify as well.
Oh, lovely.
And I'd also like to invite people to sign up for my free gift.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's very kind of you.
Yes. I've got a PDF called The 5 Essentials for Your Spiritual Path. That is some steps to take when the crap hits the fan. I want to swear, but I'm sure that we haven't talked about that. When the crap hits the fan, you know, sometimes we can forget about what to do, that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And so that this PDF is just something to help us to come back online, back into alignment. And this PDF, is, sorry about that. Somebody really wants to get hold of me.
That's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
Well, I said earlier before we came on camera, I'm on a new system, so the lighting's different. I'm hearing things pop in that I'm going to have to, you know, ask my technical staff to get rid of after, because it's making signals on the side that I didn't know. It does happen. So clearly you have a client that's really, really desperate to get a hold of you.
Somebody wants to get a hold of me, definitely. So this PDF, the free gift that I've got, there's steps in there to take, things to become aware of that are meant to help you come back into your center. And there's 2 copies. There's a very pretty one, and then there's a more printer-friendly one. So what I recommend is that people print off the printer-friendly one and post it somewhere where they'll see it. You mentioned earlier about how many thousands of thoughts that we've had. Our consciousness actually picks up on much more than we're aware of. And our minds filter out only like about 5 to 7% of everything that's out there.
Right.
And so by just having something up, even if we see it in passing, then our subconscious will pick it up and remember and go, okay.
Yes.
And so then the embodiment of that, the teachings from that will become part of us without us even really having to focus on it. Now, if we do focus on it, the change is going to happen faster.
Exactly. Exactly. I would like to ask you a question because, of course, it's been said that in the healing arts, there are many more women than men. Healers, and when I mean healers, I mean Western and Eastern traditions, therapists, psychologists, shamans. There are many more women than men. There are also many more women seeking assistance. Can you address that? Can you speak to that as a man in this field?
Yes. And it's something that I've noticed as well in many of the classes and meditations that I've participated in. Sometimes I'm the only guy. And I think more men are coming into it now as the women have done the healing process. So at least the last 2,000 years has definitely been about the masculine. And what has happened is the masculine has gotten out of balance. And men have become, and particularly through the Middle Ages, were the dominant people. They were using force to become powerful. And what's happening now, as we head out of the dark age into a golden age, there's more balance. So the women who embody more of the feminine are awakening and doing the healing journey. And so the women, because of the oppression, are seeking to cast that off, to be their true selves and to awaken into their truth. And so it's a beautiful process to observe. I believe it's because of the unhealed masculine that so many women have sought the healing practices and then have become healers and teachers themselves. And the men also have experienced the unhealed masculine. It's just we were taught what we were taught by the masculine was different from what the women were taught from the masculine. And so coming into balance within ourselves, and balance doesn't necessarily mean 50-50. The balance will be individualistic. Whatever is right for us, for our incarnation, for this lifetime. And helping people discover that and become more empowered. I believe empowerment comes from that self-love. I believe self-love comes from self-acceptance into self-respect and then self-love.
Right, absolutely.
And so helping people come through those steps is one of my joys and passions, to watch people evolve into that.
And so many people need it, because so many people, actually, I always say that, and there are many, many methods out there, many, many teachers, but if you don't have self-love, you don't even know where to start. So you need to start with individuals, right, that are going to assist you in understanding that you're worthy of everything before you can look for any other help or any other teachings, because you don't even know which direction to go, because you always feel that you don't need it or that you're not worthy to have it.
Yes. And as you're speaking, I'm aware of the people that we hang around with is so important. there's a teaching around how if you put a bunch of crabs into a pot and begin to boil the water, if a crab tries to escape, the other crabs around it will try to pull it back. And I don't believe it's a suffering thing. I don't think it's like a malicious thing.
Like a conscious, right, like conscious behavior or a forethought. But yeah, must be some sort of, that's wonderful to find out why. It must be some sort of instinct, but nevertheless, it's done. It's odd.
Yes. And so I think the people around us are similar. When we begin to change, then they have a tendency to try to pull us back as well. It could be because of their own fears, their fear of change, their lack of understanding of what we're doing. And so community is important.
Oh,
absolutely. Other people who are doing the work, so that when those other crabs try to pull us back, we've got other crabs on the other side pulling us up and out.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, it's true. You need community of like-minded individuals. You really have to surround yourself. That's one of the tenets of self-worth, that you have to surround yourself with others of a like mind, because you need to feel that community. You need to feel that uplifting momentum from the others. And you do have a tendency of seeing that when you are surrounded by like-minded individuals, once in a while, when something creeps through, then you realize just how valid that cushioning of like-minded people is to you.
Yes. Yeah. And developing the same language, having somebody to talk to about your process in languaging that they get you.
Yeah.
And so they support your process rather than pull you back into the pot.
Right. Because there are so many things on the outside that do have a tendency of trying to creep in anyway. Irrespective of your surrounding yourself with like-minded people, there are still things that seep through on a daily basis, weekly basis. So yes, it's even more essential to have that group to turn to.
Yes. And that's where going to classes and going to meditations and even social events where people of a like mind can get together. It's uplifting.
Oh, it's absolutely. I mean, the Zoom meetings. I've been in so many Zoom meetings and have with like so many like-minded people, and you begin to become friendly with them, and they become your friends, and then you have more contact with them outside of those groups. So you're surrounding yourself with people that are, have the same outlook as you. They genuinely care for you, and they want to see you succeed, and you want them to succeed, and you want them to have a wonderful life, and they want you to have a wonderful life. So you're around that. So I mean, I thank the gods for the Zoom meetings, especially during a time when we were all subject to house arrest, for lack of a better word, right? I mean, so yeah.
And even today,
at the time, were you in Mexico at the time that this occurred, the pandemic?
No, I was actually living in Canada through the pandemic. Yes. I had lived in Australia I went for an 11-day event, and I ended up staying 11 years.
Wow.
Loved. And I was on the east coast of Australia. And then I went back to Canada, and it was very cold.
Yeah.
And I had planned on moving somewhere warm. I loved the sunrise over the ocean. I loved to surf with the sunrise over the ocean.
Oh, you're a surfer. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a surfer. Yeah.
So you need the water. You need the warm water, right? You'd like to be in the sunshine at least, because I know some areas the water is not really warm, but the sunshine out. Yes.
Exactly. And that was another thing. I wanted to surf with warm water. I didn't want to I like to be free. I like
not wetsuit, and yes, the wetsuits and.
So I wanted to be warm. I wanted to be by the jungle. I wanted to be by the ocean with the sunrise. And the surf isn't great here in Playa, except during hurricane season. But it meets almost all of those other criteria. And so the opportunity to move here came in November of 2021. So I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you weathered the storm in Canada, because Canada was locked down as well.
Canada was very much locked down. And it was a darker time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also an opportunity to help people to shine their lights.
Yeah.
A lot of people did a lot of internal work at that time. And so it was an opportunity for me to be of service, to help others, to hold their truth, to shine their lights, to be their truth. And it was a very challenging, but also a very rewarding time.
Yes, it's I have to say ditto to that, because I've obtained a lot of clients during that time. Of course, everything was online, but people were fearful and people were looking for assistance. And it was a trying time for all of us, but it was also a time of a lot of breakthrough and a lot of assistance of others. And so now they've come along on their journey, but along with others of a like mind, you know, to rise above everything that was going on.
Yes, 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 yes. Sometimes, in order to get us on our spiritual path, the divine squeezes us.
Yes.
So it will create a situation or a circumstance where change is inevitable. We have to change. And sometimes that can be very painful. And I believe the pandemic was one of those things that the universe used to open us into other ways of being, other ways of thinking, other ways of feeling and connecting with others. And so in one way, it was a wonderful opportunity for that to occur. I would not want to repeat that.
Right. No, but it served its purpose.
It served its purpose. Yeah.
Right. And now we rise above and move on.
Now we move on, utilizing the gift from that time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So tell me, what's the next thing that you have for yourself going on? You're in negotiations for a physical location. And I definitely am going to put all your information in so people can contact you. Do you have any groups on Facebook? I know you have a Facebook page, but you have groups as well that people can join?
Yes, I've got the Seekers Collective, which is a group for people who are curious, who are maybe just beginning their spiritual journey or have tried some things and are looking for a little bit more. And so then I offer teachings. I also put on links to my YouTube channel, which is another place where people can connect and explore.
Oh, and I suggest listening. Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, there's so many different subjects. I didn't even touch upon. I was listening to one. I mean, I've been a subscriber for since you started, and just even the concept of cities. I mean, I haven't touched on so much because there's just so much to talk about, right? This is just a precursor to have another discussion, because we could have an entire hour of speaking of just the concept of cities, and right. I mean, that's yeah. So I definitely want to give everybody the opportunity. So I will list everything in the description and see where they can see the YouTube channel and where they can find out about the Facebook groups, and then to follow you and everything, because I mean, it's needed, it's interesting, it's important. It's really a lifeline to a lot of people. Really.
Yes.
Right. I mean, there are so many people that are looking for something. And it really is a lifeline for them to just even begin to listen.
Yeah. It brings hope and a path into that more self-love, the more self-acceptance, and create a more beautiful life for themselves.
Absolutely, because they deserve it. They deserve it, because you know what? Everybody is beautiful the way they are. And no other human being should make you feel any less. You have a right to live any way you want.
Yes, I completely agree. With harmlessness.
Of course, right. Harming none,
Yes.
but you have a right to live the way you see fit.
Yes. Yeah.
And for many people, that's very difficult. That's very difficult, not through their own workings, but often from pressures from other locations as well. And so, yes.
I think also coming from their own traumas.
Yes,
There's
true.
a lot of fear out
Mhm.
there, and people tend to operate from that fear, and so have the need to control others so
True.
that they feel safe.
True. Well, that's exactly why, right, many people are subject to other people's fears. It's true.
Yeah.
It is true.
Yeah.
Very
So
true.
that isolate and release technique can be helpful in letting go of that as well.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. People should be doing this every day, anytime, right? Anytime they feel the need, think about it. Anytime they feel the need. I always remember I had studied, it was Ho'oponopono, but it was with Joe Vitale. And I remember what he personally said, that even his interactions with his family at times had been abrupt, maybe a little, it may be a little harsh. And when he himself found this technique and used it himself, he noticed by changing himself was actually changing the situations that he found himself in, and the interconnectedness between his family and the connections and the conversations, everything was changing. So changing himself was changing everything around him for the better, so
yes,
that's why that technique that you're discussing, that doing that often will definitely change yourself and change the way you view the world and the interactions you have, the interconnectedness you feel. Yes, it's in something so simple, but so deep, right?
So effective. Yes, yes,
So
yes, yes.
deep.
Because everything, so a perspective, and one that I live by, is that everything that occurs in our outer world is a reflection of the internal world. So any
Absolutely.
lack of love in our relationships, any lack of support is a way that we are treating ourselves. And so to not give our power away to the external, but to realize that it's actually in us.
Yes.
And that can be a tricky thing to embody. And that's where working with another person is very helpful.
Yes.
Because that working with can also hold space and in effect love you through that process.
Yes. Nicely said.
I think the love is the great transformer. It's the great changer.
Oh, absolutely.
And, yeah.
Now, are you going to be in Canada in June with the rest of us up there?
Not likely.
Because
I'm going for residency here in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
And my appointment, and so I can't really leave the country until
right. You're busy at that time. Oh, what a shame. Well, then I guess I have to make a trip to Mexico. I'll have to come and make a trip. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to, we'll see. We're trying to organize a retreat down here.
Oh, that'd be lovely. Oh my gosh, who would not want to come? All right. Who would not want to come and do that, right? Oh, you have to keep me posted about that. And I want to thank you. First of all, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on, because I know clients are trying to get you, and I know you're very, very busy. You squeeze time on in your schedule to come and speak with me. I so appreciate it. Speak to the audience, just to touch upon a few things. But I would love to have you on again. Really, we just even to talk about the cities and a couple of different topics would be lovely. When you have some time.
I would love to come back. I would love to come back, especially if you wear those fabulous earrings you're wearing. Oh, those are great. I love them.
Thank you. Thank you. My daughter gave them to me. They're flowers. Thank you so much.
Love them. They're lovely. And I've really enjoyed talking to you. I hope the audience has found
speaking with you.
I
Surya,
hope the
you're so
audience has
lovely.
found it useful.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
wonderful. You're so lovely. Just so appreciative that you came to speak to the audience and just with just a little bit of your wisdom that we got today. There's so much more.
So much more. And I'd love to share it with your audience.
Oh, thank you.
And hopefully people adapt the isolate and release technique. And feel free to reach out if you've got any questions about it. Because
I'm sure we'll hear a lot. I'm sure a lot of the audience will be in contact with you. I'm sure of that, because this is so invaluable to everyone.
awesome.
Thank you
Thank you.
again.
And
Have a wonderful afternoon.
thank you. I will. And thank you for having me on. I really I'm so grateful.
Oh
So
my
grateful.
gosh.
Thank you.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have met you in my life and to have these conversations with you. It's wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.